If you are a copywriter right now and you are spending hours every single day sending cold emails and LinkedIn messages to potential clients, and you are getting absolutely nowhere, so I'm talking no responses, no meetings, no contracts, well, you're probably wondering if copywriting is even a viable career. But here's what nobody tells you. Cold outreach like that is actually the hardest way to get clients, no matter what industry you're in. And if that's the only strategy that you're relying on, you're going to burn out before you ever even land a paying gig. My name is 𝗧𝗛𝗣𝗬 and I run a 7-figure content agency, and we hire copywriters all the time. I've also worked with hundreds of freelance copywriters who've built 6-figure businesses without ever sending a single cold email. Today, I'm going to show you 11 underrated methods for getting copywriting clients. These are the 11 strategies that actually work and that I actually use in my business, and they're not the ones that everyone talks about, but they're the ones that get the results. A side note here, these are targeted at copywriters because that's my audience and that's my niche, but really these methods work for any business or freelancer. So if you're a designer, a developer, a social media manager, whatever, then these methods will work for you too. Anyway, now that's out of the way, here are the 11 methods I use to scale to 7 figures. So number 1 is building a referral engine. And we're starting with this because it's possibly the most underrated client getting method. It's referrals. When someone refers you, the business owner already trusts you. They already believe that you can do the work, and that's half the battle right there. But here is the thing, you cannot get referrals if you don't have clients yet. So your first step is to get one client, right? Anyone. A friend, a family member, someone from your network who needs help with their website copy, whatever. Even if you don't write website copy, you should still be helping out that person to get your first client. So then you do incredible work for them. You really focus on it and you get them results. And then you ask them, do you know anyone else who might need copywriting help? If you refer someone to me and they become a client, I'll give you a referral fee. That's a key point there, because so many people ask for references or referrals for free, but actually that referral fee gives something back to the referrer and the referee and makes them more inclined to look out for those opportunities for you. That's how you start your referral engine and make it a little bit more formal rather than simply a case of, oh, that person recommended you or so on. Once you have that first referral, it becomes easier and easier, until eventually most of your new clients are coming from referrals, not from you chasing them. Now we're going to number 2, and I'm going to show you something that most people completely overlook when they think about making more money as a writer or as any type of freelancer or agency owner. If you're a writer, this is strategic partnerships, and it works by identifying people or businesses that serve your ideal client, but they're not actual competitors to you. And it's a way to increase your income. You do not always have to do more work. This is strategic partnerships. You identify people or businesses that serve your ideal client, but that are not direct competitors to you. And it's another way for you to increase your income by not having to do all of the work. So you can simply get paid for knowing the right people. And this is where referrals from your referral engine turns into passive income. So, for example, at Empowered English, we pay a 10% referral fee to any project that comes through anybody. So if it's a past client of ours and they refer us to somebody, then they will receive a little kickback of 10% of the project. It's a one-off payment to say thank you. Some of our top referrers are actually taking home 4-figure checks every single month from clients that they introduced us years ago. So they're receiving this payment. They're not doing any of the writing, they're not doing any of the work. They've not even spoken to that client maybe for a number of months. They just made the introduction one time and the income keeps coming in. If you are in a position where a client comes to you and you think, I don't want this project, or that project isn't maybe a good fit for me, it's not a dead lead. In that case, you could still see an opportunity from that person by referring it to one of your strategic partners. So you pass it to someone who does want that lead, and then you're able to take a little percentage. If you would like to do that with us and refer your content writing clients to us, you can apply to be a referrer. The link is in the description box below. You should be doing this across your entire network, in my opinion. This is the most under-leveraged way of building a community, of building a client base. Think about it like this, right? If you are a website copywriter, you're probably constantly getting people who also need developers, designers, SEO specialists, paid ads managers, all of these types of things. Maybe you're a SaaS copywriter. You might partner with a SaaS web designer. If you're an e-commerce copywriter, you might partner with a Shopify dev. By doing that, you have clients that you can refer to them, and they have clients who need copy, so they're going to be referring those clients to you. You have the skills, you write for it. They have the skills to develop for them. You refer clients to each other. You work on projects together. You both make money. And because you're both bringing clients to the table, it's a win-win. So you can build relationships with agencies that sit next to your niche, not directly in competition with you. And then when work comes your way that does not fit exactly what you do, you can pass it on and take a referral fee. In my experience over time, those small introductions can really stack up, especially if that referral fee is a recurring fee. And before you know it, you'll have built a second income stream that runs quietly in the background without you having to trade more hours for money. So perfect. You might be sat there thinking, well, Holly, how do I find these people? That's all really well and good. I get the logic, but how do I find them? LinkedIn, industry groups, networking events, anywhere that your ideal client hangs out, then those strategic partnerships are probably likely to hang out as well. And at Empowered English, what we do is we just reach out and say, hey, I noticed that you work with this kind of client type. I specialize in copywriting for those businesses. I'd love for you to refer clients to you and have you refer clients to me. Here are the terms and conditions. We've found that most people will say yes because they do actually see the value of that immediately. Of course, you are going to get some rejections, but that's kind of part of what this is, part of what sales is, right? But most of the time, people in adjacent industries are really open to these kinds of strategic partnerships. Method number 3 is building your own content strategy. This is a long game, right? But it really does work. You do your own services on yourself. So you create content that demonstrates your expertise. You write about copywriting on LinkedIn. You share insights about what makes copy convert. You break down famous ads and you explain why they work. You link it all together with a great call to action and a way that makes it easy for people to take the next step to work with you. But in my experience, when you consistently show up with valuable insights, people start to see you as an expert. And when they need a copywriter, you're the first person they think of. The beauty of content marketing, obviously, is that it works while you sleep and it compounds over time. So if you just write one LinkedIn post, it can bring you in clients for a while. Obviously, not one LinkedIn post makes a content strategy, right? It's a big endeavor to do this consistently, but it's a sustainable way to grow your business, to build a personal brand, and to bring in clients. Some of the most successful copywriters I know have built their entire businesses on the back of LinkedIn, specifically LinkedIn. And they post 3 times a week. Maybe they get inbound inquiries. They've really well positioned their profile for SEO. And they get business constantly. They're booked out. There's a reason right now that I'm recording this YouTube video, because it's the same principle, right? I'm going to make videos, clients see them, they reach out. I'm an expert. Yay. Although this isn't a quick fix and it's not going to get you clients overnight, but it's also something that so many copywriters stay away from. And I think it's because they think it's saturated, or maybe they're too shy to do it, that they don't think that they're good enough. They don't really want to put themselves out there. But the truth is that you don't need a huge following to build a great audience. You just need to be consistent and valuable and show up consistently, show up over time. I don't think that the content writing niche is actually saturated at all. And in fact, there's really hardly any good content out there about AI writing and stuff like this. I know that there are people out there, I know that there are people on LinkedIn, but it's not a saturated niche insofar as other topics are, in my opinion. I specifically think that about LinkedIn because it's still so emerging as a social media platform. It's absolutely worth your time to post there. I read a study that said that only 3% of active users on LinkedIn are regularly posting, but the average C-suite executive spends 45 minutes of their week on LinkedIn. So if only 3% of the people that they follow are posting, the chances are that you're going to end up in their newsfeed in some way or another. So it's such a huge leverage and opportunity. I'll also say to you that of all of the social media platforms out there that I have a bit of a following on, LinkedIn is the only one that I have made consistent money on. This year, we're going to make around $20,000 just in leads from LinkedIn. And it's something that we've only really focused on in the last year. But I don't see that kind of leverage from other social medias like Instagram, or I don't even bother with TikTok. But why? Because my audience is business owners and they're not hanging out on Instagram looking for a content writer or copywriter. They are on LinkedIn. And so if you can post and you build your audience on there, you will be present right in front of your ideal customers. And it's probably one of the most underrated tips right now for using and leveraging your content to get clients. Okay, number 4 is you can start a newsletter. You can start a newsletter for your ideal client. So if you're a SaaS copywriter, I'm talking about starting a newsletter for copywriting for SaaS companies. Share tips, case studies, insights. Your clients will subscribe, they'll read your insights, and when they need a copywriter, obviously you'll be top of mind because you're already in their inbox. I think it's a good idea to start a newsletter on a platform like Substack for free, but you can also do it on LinkedIn, and you can also do it on things like Beehive. It just takes an hour a week to write and send, and it builds a direct relationship with your ideal clients because they're reading your words every single week, they're getting to know you, and they're building that trust. This is also so much more effective than cold email because you're providing value first before you ever ask for anything. Whereas in cold email, it's the opposite. You're approaching that customer, you're asking for them right away. I think also it's key that you position themselves in their inbox because when they're in their inbox, they're already thinking about work, they're already thinking about that time, and then boom, you're there, right? If you're building on LinkedIn, if you take my advice from the previous suggestion, then it's even better because LinkedIn has a newsletter feature too. So you can cross-post and relax really because you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Method number 5 is to leverage yourself or to put yourself out there for speaking engagements. So if you can get in front of your ideal clients and speak about copywriting, you will get clients. It's pretty simple. This could be a webinar, it could be a podcast, it could be an interview, maybe even a panel discussion at an industry conference. Obviously, I don't think that this is the best way of getting clients for every single person, but I do know people who've built incredible agencies based off of that speaking engagements, and they do a whole circuit of conferences which is in their niche. They get in front of their clients and they've built up a real name for themselves by doing that. Importantly, they didn't just do that. They don't just do speaking engagements. They also leverage content. They have a great LinkedIn. And so they get those people, they nurture them, they invite them to their newsletter, they bring them in their LinkedIn, they build that audience. And so then, of course, they're top of mind, they're the expert in that industry and in that niche. The clients find themselves. So how do you get speaking engagements? Well, again, you need to reach out to podcasts in your niche and pitch yourself as a guest. So my suggestion would be to offer to host a free webinar perhaps for a business group or an online community. You could even apply to speak at industry conferences. For most of these smaller businesses, smaller podcasts and stuff like that, they will say yes because they need content speakers. And then from there, you can build up your reputation and apply for those bigger speaking engagements. I would also say your content strategy is really important in this too. If you're present on LinkedIn and you have a wide following there, it's going to be natural that those speaking engagements are going to come into your inbox. And that's actually how my friend started out. She just built a really, really hyper-specific audience and a great content strategy. The speaking engagements followed. Okay, method 6 is a little bit controversial, but in my opinion, it does work. It's called the spec work strategy. So essentially how it works is this. You find a business that you want to work with. You reach out to them and you say, I would love to work with you. I'm going to rewrite your homepage for free. And if you like it, we can talk about working together. It doesn't need to be just that. You could write a blog post, write a social media post. Most businesses are going to say no But some will say yes. And when you say yes, you've just landed yourself a first client and a first portfolio piece at the same time. The key is to be very selective here. You don't do spec work for every single business, obviously, but you can do it for 1 or 2 businesses that you genuinely want to work with. I think it's also worthwhile saying here as well, make sure that you really take the time to do a great job if you are going to volunteer your services in this kind of way. I have had this a couple of times where people have done this to me at Empowered English, and so I've been on the receiving end of this spec work, and it has not met my standards, and so of course, unfortunately, I'm not going to hire that person. But if there was a writer that came to me and delivered an incredible blog or a piece of work for me and for my business, I actually will be very open to having a conversation with that person, because for me, finding writers of an exceptional caliber is quite challenging. So understanding them right away, okay, they were able to take the initiative and get this work done for me. They meet my standards, they've really taken care to do this, and they're offering it to me for free. I have only done this for one client, and it was a huge client that I really wanted to work with. I'd been referred by someone who was in my network, and they kind of gave me this as a suggestion. It did work for me, but we only got a small project out of it. So it wasn't something that I have had consistent results with, in contrast to something like my LinkedIn strategy, which delivers me results on a monthly basis. So be selective, be specific, but I do think that this is a great way for you to capture clients in an authentic way. This is method 7, and it is LinkedIn outreach. But I'm going to caveat that by saying it's LinkedIn outreach done right. We've already said that cold email is a challenge, right? But LinkedIn outreach done right can work. The difference is personalization and value. So instead of sending a generic message to 50 people, you send highly personalized messages to 5 people. Research them, you look at their content, you understand their business, and then you send them a message that shows that you've really done that research and you've thought a lot about them and how you can add value to their team. I do this on a regular basis. So if there is a great job, for instance, that I think that I would be really applicable for, but that is more of like a full-time role, whereas I think I'd be great as my agency would be able to plug that in, or if there's someone that I really want to connect with, someone maybe that is running a great business, an AI company, and I just would really love to work with that company, then I will do my research and I will just connect with the founder of that business and come to them with a pitch. Usually it's super short, because I know that founders are really busy, they are exhausted. I want to make it straight to the point, and so I just specifically target them like, this is your problem, this is how I can help, here's my portfolio, book a call with me if you want to take it further. And then I do really short follow-up messages from there. This has worked for me quite a few times. I've reached out to a number of different CEOs and founders of businesses. Many of these times I've had a great conversation with them, and we've had a 50-minute chat, we've had a little bit of a pitch go back and forth, but it doesn't always result in the client closing. However, that I'm not necessarily super bothered about, because then I can keep that person in my network. And what I've found is that it might not have gone anywhere when I initially reached out, but for a few of these businesses down the line, those people have actually come back in touch with me and reached out a little bit later. So there's a mix really between the kind of outreach and hitting them at the right time and actually building a relationship to them to come back to you later. Method number 8 is to join online communities. So your ideal clients are hanging out in online communities. They're hanging out in Slack, Reddit, Discord servers, although, take that with a pinch of salt. Join these communities, participate, answer questions, provide value. Key here is don't sell, just really be helpful. And over time, people will start to recognize you as an industry leader, as someone who knows what they're talking about. And when they need a copywriter, obviously you are going to be at number 1. Your presence in these communities actually can impact your SEO strategy too. If you are present in Reddit and you're offering yourself as a service, don't be spammy about that, but actually it can really improve the way that Google and LLMs see you as an individual. And if those communities are crawlable, really can work in your favor. Overall though, building out a community and working well in a community is a great way for you to engage with your clients in a natural, non-pushy way. You've got to do this right. It's not a sales thing. And again, it's a long-term play to position yourself as the expert in that niche. Number 9, we're talking about case studies and social proof. So once you have a few clients, you really need to make sure that people know about the results that you've gotten. Create case studies, show before and after, explain the results, and then share testimonials on your website, on your LinkedIn, maybe make a video about them. Video testimonials are so great. I love to see them. If you have something that you can prove the work that you've done, you're going to be ready with a whole bunch of great things in your portfolio. Social proof in this way is incredibly powerful. And although it maybe isn't a method for you to find clients, it's certainly something that I wanted to include in this list because it's imperative to closing those clients. This is why your first few clients are so important, because they're the foundation for all of your future marketing endeavors. And so getting a plan for your social proof before you get those first clients in will help you take advantage of that. Method 10 is the warm intro. And so simple, super effective. Essentially, you just ask someone in your network to introduce you to someone that they know who might need copywriting. The truth is, most people are going to say no, right? But some people will say yes. And when they make an introduction, that person's going to be already primed to talk to you because they trust the person who introduced you. This is slightly different from building a referral engine because at Empowered English, we have people who are referrers who I actually just reached out to on LinkedIn that I wanted to work with. Perhaps I reached out to them because I saw that they had a great profile on Upwork and I think that we're in, adjacent industries. But warm referrals like here are people who are in your network that you already know. I want to say that this is an underrated strategy because the first advice when you build a business is, tell everyone that you're building a business. Reach out to people. Say to them, I'm building this business. Do you know anyone who can help? And really, that is the best way to get clients initially. And yet so many people don't do that. I think so many people want to keep something secret. They want to build in secret until they're successful. But actually getting the foot in the door is the number one hardest thing to do when you're building a business. So getting that back from people who are in your network or who are warm people who can give you a great testimonial and who are already warm enough to have that relationship with you is the most important thing. And finally, my final underrated method is the retainer method. So this is what we do at Empowered English. Once you have a client, you convert them to a retainer. So instead of a project-based work, you offer them a monthly retainer where they pay you a set amount each month for some ongoing work, and then you deliver that ongoing work and strategy to them every single month. This is a pretty underrated method because most copywriters think that they have to chase new clients constantly. But if you can convert your clients to retainers, then you have recurring revenue that happens without you looking for it every single month. And recurring revenue means you don't have to spend as much time on client acquisition. Instead, you could just focus on doing great work for your existing clients. This sounds brilliant. I'm sure you're sat there thinking, well, Holly, of course I want retainer clients. That's excellent. So how do you pitch one? My suggestion is after you've completed a few projects for a client, you say something like, I've really enjoyed working with you. I'd love to continue working together. I've put together this plan for you. This is what I would like to do if I were you going forward, and I'm going to give it you for free. I'm super prepared to help you execute this, and these are the 3 costs that it might cost you below. I would give you them 3 costs, 3 prices, a small, a medium, and a large. That small would be really small, like easy to afford. The medium will be the one that is has the most extra new stuff, but it's at a much more premium price. So for instance, you might have the small at $800 and then the medium at $1,250 and then the large at $1,500. You want to do this because you want to make the small easy and achievable, but the medium look like the best value. And then if you're going to spend $1,250, well, then you might as well spend the extra $250 a month to go for the large because, you'll get those extra things. So this pricing strategy helps you to position 3 things in the retainer. Putting it all in a document like this, and you say, I'd love to work with you. This is your strategy. You can have that strategy for free. You can execute it with someone else, but this is what I would do. And these are the results that I would get you for this total investment. Now, the ball is in their court. Obviously, chase up with them and follow up with them, but you've given them an easy next step. Most often, those clients will actually already be thinking about the next step. They'll be thinking, what should I be doing now with my website? I've asked you for 2 or 3 blogs, but I know that's not enough for next month. And it's going to be something on their mind to do like later. But by you doing the work, you providing that pitch to them, you've taken something off their plate and you've made it easy for you to work with them. So there you go. Here it is. Boom, done. Ball is in your court. But now it's easy to take the next step and convert to a retainer. So that's all of our 11 methods. Which ones should you start focusing on? Now, if I was starting out, I'd start with referrals and building your network, because you want to be getting in the door and building your first client. But then I want to layer in content marketing and LinkedIn outreach, because building your reputation is so vital. Finally, I want to build strategic partnerships, speaking engagements to expand my reach. And all the time, I'm going to be focusing on retainers and case studies to build recurring revenue and social proof. So we've got it as kind of a map of our business, right? You don't need to do all 11 at once. You just need to pick 2 or 3 and really commit to them. But they all sort of fit in for the different stages of your business growth. You're considering, how am I building this marketing content engine that works for me? This has all been for copywriters, but for the businesses really that succeed are the ones that have a system set up for getting clients on autopilot. They don't rely on luck or one-off opportunities. Instead, they've got multiple channels that they're working on, that they're nurturing, that are bringing in businesses. So if you are building your copywriting business and you want to stay updated on client acquisition strategies, then this is the channel for you. Make sure that you hit subscribe and follow. And I'm curious, what is the #1 strategy that you're going to be focusing on over the next few weeks as you grow your business? Why not comment your answer down below? In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you are a content writer, if you're building an online business, then I am here for you every single week with tips and tricks on building an online career and an online business that lets you live the life that you would like. So I will see you in the next video very, very soon.